Hey, this is Kyle Carver from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Crimer Beer House for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. The beer house was started in 1982 by the Crimer family. Since that time, they've become a Cincinnati favorite. If you're looking for an incredible meal and an incredible setting, you have to try Crimer's Beer House down on Route 128 in Cleves, Ohio. Hey guys, what's going on here with the goofy Merle? He's in a mood this morning. Let me tell you guys. Come in here.
I just got my wig busted, man.
You did. You got all your hair's cut. You're looking good there. You're
cut,
looking real fresh. I'm sure Linda likes it, doesn't she?
She didn't like I was looking kind of gruff, She said, it's time to get it done. I said, the problem, every time I get my hair cut, they just discover more gray hair. So,
gotcha.
Well,
I have to bring it up because our last show you called me Hun. So I got to make sure.
Yeah, you do have to bring that up.
This show, we're going, we can't.
We're going Hun free.
Yeah, Hun free. No more Huns, okay, Merle? So, yes, if you didn't hear that, check out last week's show and listen to Merle.
You talk about Freudian slips. That was.
You were so flustered after you said it. So, yes, definitely go check that out.
But you're the one I lost. I mean, you're falling off the chair, and I'm thinking, oh, Lord, we got to have to redo the show here or something because he's gone.
Yes.
What are we doing today?
Yes,
anyway?
Yeah. Anyways,
let's
bring it back. Yes. So as we're recording this show, this show will be airing on September 11th. So we thought it would be, it's one of those where September 11th is something every year that happens, and obviously as Americans, we vividly remember that day, and I think it's important to kind of go back a little bit and remember some of the things that happened that day, some of the things that after that day happened, kind of as Americans, how we responded to it. Mm-hmm. Again, not trying to beat a dead horse by any means. It's something, again, every year gets brought back up. But I think we can kind of take a different spin on it and hopefully use it for our dads to kind of have some good takeaways from it. You and I both being part of the conversation, again, trying to learn every day look at our flaws and hopefully take September 11th and, again, try and spin it a little bit, try and find some positives that we can kind of come from that.
Well, I think not just the review or the remembrance, but really I think as putting this show together, kind of a call out here. Yeah. And so a call out as to are we losing our freaking minds or what? Are we losing our I even think of the title of the show is Have I Lost My Ever Patriotic Mind? Yeah. And it's almost insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, right? Yep. And I think here we go again. We're right back to it in this country in many ways, and I think part of our show today is a little bit of a rant in terms of calling it out and saying, "Good Lord, what are we doing?" And you don't miss things oftentimes in your life until they're gone, right? Yeah. It's like we've had certain things, you take them for granted, whether it's a special person you have in your life, and all of a sudden when they're gone, you're going, oh, wow, things are really different. And this country is just that. I mean, it's not even close. Is there another country that has rivaled what this country has produced in terms of freedom and opportunity and wealth and faith, opportunity for faith and education? There's not even a country that's close that rivals it, and everybody esteems to be what it is. Every other country, like, I want to be more like they are. Right. That's not at all like talking about us being perfect. Yeah, we've got lots of room to grow.
Absolutely.
But it's like, holy cow, we have lost our minds in terms of what we are doing in this country right now in a lot of different ways. And so we're going to have some conversation about that. But a lot of this is really just us talking about, have we lost our mind? Have we lost the memory? And what do we need to do to bring it back? Have you ever lost your ability to do something or the privilege of being able to do something?
Yes.
And you go, okay, am I ever going to get that back again?
Right. Yeah. It's, I started thinking about this man, I don't miss high school at all. I absolutely despise school, but I miss high school sports. I miss the competitiveness. Golly. I missed that, just, the game day.
Yeah.
I ran cross country. I did track, played basketball.
I know.
Golfed.
You did cross country and your times were faster than mine.
That they were.
Know.
Yes.
Heard it.
Yes.
Heard it.
But man, like the race day, holy cow. Like the adrenaline rush you get from race day at the time, it's like, oh, because you do it so much. I ran cross country for years and years and years, and we take that for granted so much. And now that I'm old and gray, and I don't have that I don't have race day.
Yeah.
Man, I miss that so much. That's why I thrive. Like when my brother's like, all right, let's go, let's play a pickup game.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm all in. I try and play basketball on Thursdays when the schools hopefully get open back up. I'll get back into that. I love just the competition. That's something that I don't get that. We have competition a little bit at work. Like, oh, I'll be a better fireman than you are, but man, game day is like where it's at for me. I love that. It fuels me. It's that adrenaline I get from that. So I would definitely say that the competitive edge of high school sports is something I definitely took for granted at the time, and now I really miss it.
And it's gone.
It's gone.
Or the opportunity of it.
Yes.
Something that's different too, just between you and I. Again, this is your opportunity to cap on me for my age and everything. You're still able to be fairly competitive though when the opportunity comes. Just with your age and everything. Like, one of the most frustrating things for me, and just being honest, is I love the competition too. I love doing running races, bike races, triathlon. And I was never great. So let's just be very clear with that, okay, as you will point out. But I was okay, and I loved the training for it, getting in shape for it. And then this nasty thing called osteoarthritis. Right? Arthritis started just showing up in my shoulders first, then my elbows, then my knees. And now the brain still wants that competitiveness, that training. It still desires it. But guess what? It's just not happening, And it's like, holy cow, you don't realize what you have while you have it. Yeah. And then when it's gone. And we kind of share that story because that's a lot of what we see in our country. Like, we're getting ready to blow this up wide open and lose things that we may never get back if we don't understand what we have right now. Yep. So we better pay a few bills.
Well, that we should, for sure. Definitely today's Strong Days podcast, we would love to thank the Crimers Beer House for coming alongside of us. The beer house was started in 1982 by the Crimer family, and since that time, they've definitely become a Cincinnati favorite. We went down there, we checked it out.
Man,
it was good food.
Excellent.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for an incredible meal in an incredible setting, definitely go down to Crimer's Beer House on Route 128 and check them out.
Yeah, I had that chicken cordon bleu.
I know.
And that thing looked like a full bird.
The server comes by, and the server looks at Merle like, what can I get for you? And he's like, I don't know, what's good here? And so the server picked what you were going to eat.
Yeah, she picked it, but she picked a good one. Yep. But it's the servings that you better like it because you're going to get a lot of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I also want to do a big thank you to Mansfield Insurance Agency, located in Bright, Indiana. They were established in 1981. The Mansfield Insurance Agency has been dedicated to the individuals and businesses in Bright, Indiana, but serving folks in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So for all your insurance needs, contact Mansfield Insurance Agency. All right, so, man, remember 9/11?
I do.
What were you doing 9/11? We may have had this conversation once before.
I was in 8th grade.
Were you still in your diapers?
I was not. I was in 8th grade. I was in Mr. Hafer's English class, and man, it's one of those as an 8th grader. I remember I had a golf match that later on that day, and it naturally got canceled, and I was so mad, Merle. Oh. As an 8th grader, not being able to wrap my mind around what exactly had just happened, I was like, that happened, halfway across the country. Why is my golf match getting canceled? Oh. And kind of looking selfishly internal.
Your selfish self.
Yeah, my selfish self came out.
There's a consistent theme here, Kyle.
Yeah, and man, and crazy thing is, the days and the weeks that followed, once we really kind of grasped behind what exactly had happened, just the raw emotions of my family, of friends, of my teachers, something I will never, ever forget. So, yes, I was 8th grade year, Merle, 2001, 8th grade year.
Yeah.
What about you? Where were you at?
I was a counselor at Bright Elementary School.
Okay.
And I was doing kind of my morning duties of running up and down, checking on some kiddos and doing some things. And I came up to the office, and we had a TV that we had kind of off on the corner of the office that we actually only turned it on for emergencies, weather alerts, and stuff like that. And it was beautiful outside that day. And I came around the corner, and the TV was on. And I looked at our secretary and like, Denise, what's the TV on for? She's like, Hutch, you've got to look at this. And I turned around, and at that point, the towers were still just smoking.
Sure.
And we're watching it, and as we're watching it, I said, "Oh my gosh, it's falling in," and I watched that tower cave in and fall to the ground, and obviously it's still etched in my memory.
Oh yeah.
And I've shared this before. That day, my 2 older boys were younger. They were actually attending school at the place that I worked, and we came home, and that night had a conversation about. Your life will forever be changed due to this day. Things are going to be different. I don't know what that means, but things are going to be different. And we prayed that day just for the wisdom to know what to do. And it has changed their life. They both serve in the military, and they will both tell you that a big reason why is because what was laid on their heart from that day. So anyway, I think. I actually have a sense of anger in me today in thinking about this show, because it's like, we keep returning back to our old ways. Yep. Prior to 9/11, we had a lot of these, a lot of pettiness. I'll call it pettiness. Obviously, if it's your problem, it's not petty, but a lot of little things that you want to argue and bicker about. And then all of a sudden 9/11 came, and you saw this coming together, this unity across this country.
Yeah.
And it really lasts for several years. It felt like, and now we are as splintered as ever in this country.
That's a good way to put it.
And it's like, and I'm not trying to minimize anybody's problem or issue, but it's like everybody's issue is the big issue.
Right.
And in the meantime, losing sight of the wonders that this country is. And so I think that's part of the idea of, have we lost our patriotic mind? Have we lost it again? How many times do we have to keep going back? What's the next reminder that we need to wake us up? And, at some point, is it going to be such a harsh, stark reminder that you're going to wake up and go, we've lost everything we ever had?
Yeah.
Whether we become a communist country, whether we are taken over by a greater power, whatever it is, I don't know. But do we recognize what we've had, and are we just flushing it?
Yeah, and I think looking at something like September 11th, such a monumental event in our country, really, if we take the time to really truly remember it, I really feel like it puts things in perspective for us as a country. Because just like you were saying, with what you have going on, again, not minimizing those problems that each person has, but when we compare it to something like 9/11, something that really drastically changed everything about this country, I really think it puts things in perspective, and we just have to take the time to look at that, to realize that, after 9/11, man, I remember just seemingly everyone just locked arms and like, we're in this. We are in this for the long haul. We're in this together. And we're here together to fight with each other for this, and yes, as a country, we lost a lot of things that we had prior to 9/11. But it was one of those that, like, okay, we lost those, but let's dig in. We're ready to do this together. And that's, just you were saying, the splinters that we seemingly have now, the mundane, the stupid differences that we seem to have. we've completely lost our way in our thought process, and we've kind of just September 11th happened 19 years ago,
right?
And it was so long ago. We've moved way beyond that, and why is that?
Yeah.
Like what is so different now in our country in the sense of we're still the same people, we're still Americans together. Like, why can't we dig our heels in again? And like, but like you said, I mean, sometimes it takes a tragic event like that for us to dig our heels in, and it's like, why can't we just spend the time, remember what, yes, September 11th was a terrible day, but let's remember the months and the years past that where we locked arms together.
Yeah. Well, I think a big part of the problem is how we operate today. We operate in a very self-centered way. Oh, yeah. In other words, my problem is the biggest problem of the day. And again, I want to tell you, this is not to minimize my problem. Right. But when my problem becomes everybody else's problem, I try to maximize it with the idea of grabbing attention to it and for it. And the result is that everybody else wants their problem to rise up. Yeah. It's kind of like, if the body's got cancer, which the whole body is under attack with cancer, and then I go walking through the woods and get a few scrapes on my elbow from some thorns that I walked by, and I lose sight of the cancer, and I go spend the next 3 days getting the scratches on my arm addressed. It's like, well, it's not to say that the scratches don't hurt and they may need a little bit of medical attention, but dude, you got cancer. Yeah. You got cancer. Don't lose sight of what you've got here that you better deal with. And we've lost that sight, and we've lost that sight because of our selfishness. Oh yeah. And the only way that we lose the selfishness is start to realize how we all have a piece in this. Like, what have I actually been focusing on? Am I me-centered or am I God-centered? Yeah. Am I country-centered? Yeah. Where do I come to this? And so, until we start to deal with reckoning that I'm not the center of the world, and obviously I mean that for each of us as individuals, this is going to continue to grow. And I hate to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, so. That made me think of a run I was on not too long ago. A girl, she terrible auto accident, and she actually her femur completely shattered. And
ow!
Yeah, not a good day for her. No, completely shattered her femur, and just what you're talking about without selfishness. She obviously had multiple other scrapes all over her face and her arms, and if she would have looked at us and say, "Don't worry about my femur fracture, fix my face," because that's what everyone's going to see. It's like, well, ma'am, if we don't fix your femur, and obviously she didn't say that, but if she would have looked at us and said, "Fix my face," I'd be like, "Ma'am, if we don't fix your femur, you're gonna die." Like,
you're gonna bleed out.
Yeah, and it's just that just exactly what you were saying. That man, we have to realize that these massive blows we've taken, that's what we need to fix that as a country, and then. We'll come back and we'll fix those little scrapes. Right. Those are fine, but we have to realize, again, putting things in perspective, that femur fracture is so much more important than those little scrapes on your face.
Right. Yeah. Taking care of the whole body.
Oh, yeah.
The whole body. And, we have allowed the small things. And again, let's not take this personally. Oh, you mean my issue is not big? No, I didn't say that at all. What I'm saying
I'll say that, Merle.
What I'm saying is we've lost focus on what are the most important things. What's the best life that we've had to live because of the country that we've had. Yeah. And so, this country has really gone after trying to help a lot of those smaller, non-inclusive problems to the entire country with whether we have welfare programs or we have job activities or education or health things where we try to reach out and help. But a lot of that has also because we have drifted away from the church and the purpose of the church of actually taking care of those welfare needs. Yeah. And so we don't want to go to the church for the welfare needs. We want to go to the government. Yeah. And so now that, once you start a program like that, it's very hard to ever stop it. And so the next thing you know, my biggest problem is not whether the United States is doing well, but whether my check is going to come in the mail each week. And again, that's a serious problem for that person. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but in the meantime, I lose focus on how that allows the rest of the world to function, or the rest of this country. So lots of complicated stuff here. And I think the hard part is all of us losing our focus on what 9/11 really woke us up to. Yeah. And we better not fall back there.
Yep. And as strong dads here, we're talking to you and I, Merle. I mean, the conversation, we're a part of this. We're in this, just like all you guys out there. That's really where we kind of want to go to. Like, so as a strong dad, how do I make this a priority for my family? How do I never forget what happened 9/11? But also, what are some things that I can do to, again,
right?
We've gone through the healing process. It's time to dig our heels in together as a country, and we definitely believe here it starts in the home. You being the leader of your home, it's got to start there. We have to enough is enough. The petty stuff that's going on in our country right now, it's not going to affect us, because if we allow it to affect us, then we bring up another generation of kids that are going to continue the cycle of my problems are the biggest problem going on in the country. My problems are the biggest thing going on in the world. It's all about me. And then we bring up a generation that is like, well, fix the scratch on my face. Don't worry about my femur fracture. My face is what everyone's going to see.
Right. That's a great point. And so, let's talk about what we do, right? And the change comes from within each of us. And so actually, this is the Strong Dads podcast, and we are Christian dads talking to other Christian dads, and hopefully guys who at least want to hear the message. And this takes me back to Joshua 24:15. If you can't state Joshua 24:15 in terms of how you function in your home, that's the first problem right there. Joshua 24:15 says, "But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates, or gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord." Stop right there. Yeah. I mean, if we can't make that statement, then we've lost the unifying factor of this country. Yeah. And so the very first thing, actually, and this is a hard pill to swallow these days, which, if you went back 50, 60, 70 years ago, this pill wasn't nearly as hard to swallow. But the idea that God's word was in the foundation of the building of this country. Yeah. And that's just the truth. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've been to DC, Washington, DC, many, many, many times. You can't walk through a building there without the words of God printed all over the place. Yeah. The memorials, the Senate, the White House, all of these things have different references that tap into the foundation of God being there. And there was a reason for that. And so there is a site. If you don't understand that, or you don't believe that part of the history, just to dig in, somebody's already done the work for you. Wallbuilders.com. That's David Burton's site. He's actually a historian who's done the work to say, he is a Christian, but he was like, well, I want to just find out, really, was God a necessary part of this foundation? Yeah. Because it was starting to be questioned. Yeah. And he has uncovered all of these documents from the founding fathers, and he has them all in one collection right there, an incredible collection. Go through and start reading them. You can actually read them one off. He's got them all available. You can open them up and read the writings of our founding fathers. God was very intentional in this design.
That's pretty cool. When it comes to the history, I think when we the website you just talked about, the Wall Builders, like, man, that's cool, because what do they say? If you delete history, we'll just repeat it.
Right.
What we're going to repeat. If we lose sight of what we assume, or what we can take from documents, or what our founding fathers wanted for this country, man, they were in it together. Like a group of guys were like, we're done with this. We're done with people telling us how we have to live. We're going to do things how we, free people.
But we're humble enough to know that they couldn't do it themselves. They had to have God as their foundation, because they knew what happened when just one person had their way, the king or the individuals. And so the fact that they had the insight to ground it in a bigger being was like, oh, that's why. That's why, because otherwise we'll start fighting. Oh, looky where we are, And so that's the insight that I think I miss so often.
Oh yeah, well, because I mean, just exactly what you're saying. Because when you bring a faith, when you bring God into it, it's no longer about you, because that's not what the ministry of Jesus was about. It's not about me and I can do this by myself. And that is, yes, we I mean, look at our dollar bills. Like under God we trust. Like in God we trust. Like those are the things. Man, we got to remember history. I mean, history is good things. Sure, there's a lot of learning that can happen from it, but like our founding fathers had that faith because they knew, again, just what you were saying. It's not about us. We need something bigger. It's not about me, myself, and what I want. It's about the greater good of all of us.
Yeah. So the first thing is take a little history lesson and see what you need to do to bring God back into your picture. Okay. The second thing is we have, every individual in this country, if we are going to avoid the things that we see today, we have to start in our own home, like you said. And as strong dads, this is a call out right here. It is so easy for me to sit back and complain about how everybody else is not doing their job.
Yep.
Whether it's a politician or a race of people or a business or a corporation, whatever it is, I can always point my finger. The problem is I don't look at pointing it at myself. and that's where we screw up, the self-responsibility part of it. And so, are you keeping your family strong? Is your marriage strong? Are you doing what you can there? Are you teaching your kids about why God is in the foundation of this country and why God needs to be in the foundation of your family? Are you teaching your kids about servanthood and work ethics and manners and respect for others? Are you teaching that? If that's not happening in your home, then stop looking at what all the craziness is out in the world and getting mad about it. Start in your home.
Oh, for sure. And I think that goes right into the next point of taking responsibility for you and what the role you take. Man, we talk to our girls all the time. Ava found out she had a teacher that she wasn't overly excited about, and because there was a couple troublemakers in her class, and it's like, Ava, we can only care and worry about what we can drastically affect. So I can't help if another kid's a troublemaker. I can't help that. But what I can do is make sure that when you go to school, you behave the right way.
Yes.
That you're doing what you're supposed to do. And the same could be said, like, we need to stop worrying about what other people, the mistakes that they're making. Like, man, we got enough problems internally, like for you as a man in your own house. I'm sure there's a lot of fixing that can go on there. We talk about this all the time at work. Like, there'll be another firehouse that we don't agree with how they do stuff. And it's like, well, we can point out their flaws, but maybe we got enough of our own problems.
Right.
Like, let's figure us 7 guys out. Like, we got enough issues here in our own firehouse. We got to figure out our stuff before we go and try and tell you. And again, not to say we can't give advice to other people, because you and I sit here behind a microphone, flawed as all go get out, and we try and bring messages and try and bring things to this show that are from our own mistakes, things that we can grow on. But so again, it's not that our life isn't perfect, so we can come to you guys and tell you all these awesome things.
Absolutely.
Like, we have flaws too, and we're just trying to figure it out together. It'd be different if we approach that firehouse and be like, hey man, we went through this exact same thing. Like, this is, some of the things we did to fix it. But we can't sit there and point those fingers. What do they say, when you got one finger pointing out, you got 4 coming back at you or something like that? That's probably an older saying too, isn't it?
How many fingers you have anyway? You have 4 fingers and
3
one thumb. Good Lord.
3
I tell you, these millennials, you have to dislocate your thumb to get the point back at you.
Yes, you got what I meant though, Merle. Okay?
I got it. Yeah, just take personal responsibility. Own it. We talk about that all the time. And
all the time.
Man, I don't want to own it when I make a mistake. Yeah. But we are called to own it. I mean, that's how I do grow. And, listen, you talk about us giving advice. The only way that I feel qualified to give advice is when I've walked through that. Yeah. And so we are both fathers. Yep. I have my kiddos, you have yours. And we talk all the time about the train wrecks going on in our own home, right?
Should have seen it this morning going to school.
It's a constant thing, but that's the important part of recognizing that it is happening in my own house, and I've got to take care of that. I've got to be part of the solution to that. And so owning it, and then part of that also is being thankful for what you do have.
Oh yeah.
Because the grass gets greener every time I look outside of my own house. Yeah. I look at my own life and go, oh man, I wish I had it like so-and-so or whatever. And that's a dangerous place to get. I need to take care and own my own life, fix my own yard, and then we can start to have conversation.
Yep. And I mean, what about like the idea of community and being involved in our community? We talk all the time about deal with issues in your own house, and then hopefully that trickles into things going on in our community. But if you take a passive role in your community and you take a step back and you're never going to be a part of those solutions, so you can bring things to your community. You can volunteer, help out. Different. I mean, every community has a ton of stuff going on, and in your community, hopefully, there's a church that's in that community, and you get involved in the church and help the church function and run. And again, just that. Hopefully, everyone is going towards the same desired goals. When you can address issues in your homes, knowing that you are flawed, knowing that your community is going to be flawed. But man, again, if we go back to the idea of we're in this together. Like, let's work and let's try and fix things in our community to make it a better place for the next generation.
Yeah, I think that's important. Being involved in the community at some level, whether it's through the church or a local festival or whatever, being involved versus sitting back and complaining about why your community sucks. So, what are you doing to help make it better? I think there's another part here as we're entering the election season. We just love these election ads, don't we? Aren't they fun? It's like you can guarantee not to believe anything you see on any one of them. They just keep throwing each other under the bus. But it is our opportunity. It is our freedom that we have in this country to keep and maintain what our founding fathers desired for us. And we have a responsibility here to not just vote for people, but vote for the ideas of this country. When somebody is going to go against an original idea that our founding fathers gave us, that gave us the success that this country did give us, you need to question that person. Like, wait, what is this guy trying to do here? Okay, so it's very important that we are active in our voting, that we learn the policies that people support, not just whether they have nice hair or not.
Yeah. And
you would be in trouble as a politician.
I would definitely be.
You don't have nice hair.
I've thought about it multiple times. Be like, man, I would like to run for government.
But you don't have hair.
Well,
you got to have hair.
I have hair when I take my hat off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. I thought you were bald all this time.
The other day, my brother made this comment, and it kind of smacked me in the face, because I will be the first to tell you, I will sit back and be like, man, stop doing this. Like talking to government officials. And my brother made a comment to me, and it is kind of stuck with me. And it's something my hope is that moving forward, I can actually apply this. We have got to start praying for our leaders.
Yeah.
We have got to start praying for our leaders, regardless of what political party they come from, regardless if you voted for them or not. These people are elected officials from what we have put in place as a country, that we get to elect these people. We have to pray for them. Again, regardless if you like them, hate them, indifferent about them, man, like if we don't, again, then we're losing sight of what our founding fathers wanted for this country. They wanted God a part of our country. And what better way than starting your own home? Let's pray for our country, pray for our leaders. As much as I disagree with what certain leaders are doing in our country, I got to start being more diligent and more intentional about praying for them, because man, if we think these people are going to fix our problem, we've missed the mark, because these people themselves are never going to fix the problems in this country. It has to come from something so much more bigger, something like a God.
Yeah. I think it's also important too that we recognize how much we allow the world to influence our thinking, our acceptance of behaviors, of lifestyle. Humanistic thinking is extremely dangerous. We have seen that time and time again. If I continue to allow myself to do what I want to do, what feeds me, that is always going to come at the expense of others, and not going to come at the opportunity to build others. And so understanding how that trickles into our life and how we slowly just accept it as being normal and regular versus understanding what God's way is. And so constantly having your finger as a dad in your home, having your finger on the pulse of, wait, is what we're doing right now going against God's way? Or is this just what the world's doing and it's a cool thing right now? Because if I don't, I will drift and my kids will drift right into whatever's cool and exciting, no matter the cost.
Yeah. So, kind of as we moving through the show, some of the good takeaways. I mean, let's look at some different things that we can do in our own home. What are some things? Because I talked about this, with Jenny before. Like, man, in 10, 15 years, I don't want my girls to have a conversation that we just had at the beginning of the show. Like, what's something that you used to have that you took for granted then and now you miss it? I don't want them to say, God. Like, I don't want them to look at America and say, man, we used to have God a part of our country and now it's gone. Yeah. And I took that for granted. Like, so we need to do a little bit of self-evaluation in our home. Again, we talk all the time, like, let's fix our own home. Let's fix what we have going on. Have conversations with your kids about never forgetting 9/11 and what that did for our country, how we came together post 9/11. We came together, and then we have since lost our way. And how, again, we can sit back and continue to complain about it and all the issues going on. But what are we going to do, us as ourselves, us in our home? What are we going to do to try and help resolve those issues, fix those issues? You start within your home, then move to your community, and it just progresses that way.
Yeah. So our challenge for you this week, you strong dads out there, is the idea of checking out again, like how much you've allowed yourself to drift into the thinking of the world, whether it's the most polished ad that's come by you that's caught your attention, or
what
whatever.
Ad is polished?
Every ad is polished, right? Everybody wants to sell their way, sell their thing, and so all of these things that just are bright, shiny items that grab our attention, and we get attracted to them. But understanding what that is doing to you. And and then running it by God's word. Yeah. And the simplest way to start that process is just go into the Gospel of Matthew. Go into just one book, and just read what Jesus says. Yeah. What he says is a total contradiction to how my brain naturally thinks. Yeah. And time again, I think that's my greatest filter to say, oh, wow, is this what I'm actually doing in my house? And it's a call out all the time, and it's hard. Linda and I have conversation with our kids just about how we just gravitate towards whatever's bright and shiny and what the world's doing. Then we lose sight of, well, what would Jesus actually think about that? Yeah. Because what Jesus says is actually very difficult to follow, but there's a reason why he gives us those commands and ways of living. So your challenge this week, really, guys, is just to analyze, like, are you losing sight of why this country was great? Are you letting your head get wrapped around the axle of all these small little petty things and losing the idea of just having God as the center? And, if so, let's start to change that. Let's do the things that we need to.
Yep. Definitely September 11th, it was definitely a big smack in the face for America. It was definitely, we took a little black eye, right? And we currently find ourselves in another significant timeline in our country. We're in the midst of a pandemic going on right now. And wherever you fall on the political spectrum, wherever you fell on September 11th on the political spectrum, we have to realize, again, it's so much more bigger than just what's going on with this country. Like, we have to fix things in our home. Like, what part of country is going to kind of take part in you and having your heart change for, again, pray for our leaders, man. I know I just said that, but I just think it's so significant because I feel like after September 11th, we brought faith back into our country a little bit.
Yeah.
It came back, and hopefully post COVID-19 pandemic, like let's bring prayer back to this country.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So hey, let's not make us drop to our knees again in the time of a flood or hurricane or forest fires. Let's do it beforehand, okay? It's a terrible time to drop to your knees when you're in a panic. Yeah. How about let's just get there more frequently? So, hey, our show today, hopefully it was a challenging show.
Yeah.
It was not all about the fun, and I think there's some frustration that goes on that's kind of building up in all of us. And, I'm not going to apologize for that. I think I don't want to lose what we have in this country. And I see us slipping back into these things that pull us apart as a country. And so our challenge is just like we've got to recognize what we have here. So let's say thanks again to all of our listeners. If Strong Dads can help you out, Rock Solid Families in particular, please feel free to reach out. You can call us at 812-576-7625.
Good job, Hun.
Yeah, I did not call you Hun. We stayed away from that this time. And
I may never let you live that one down.
Oh, I know. I think I'm cooked on that one.
Even Linda was razzing you a little bit when we went out to dinner.
She's like, yeah, I didn't have any problem here. I heard it right away. I was like, yeah, well, I guess I could have deleted it out, but
no.
I don't want to do that, right?
I would have told you to put it back in. Do not delete that out of that show.
All right, sign us up. Get us out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Go out there and be some strong dads.
Hey, this is Merle Hutchinson from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency in Bright, Indiana for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. Established in 1981, the Mansfield Insurance Agency has been dedicated to the individuals and businesses in Bright, Indiana, serving clients throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.